Hi, welcome back. I'm Dezin, and in this video it's going to be about your future spouse, their physical traits, physical appearance, and also the personality traits, so all of those details. And I've prepared 4 groups for you to choose from. This is our group 1, this is our group 2, and this is our group 3, this is our group 4. Pause this video if you need to and just pick from your intuition, and if you feel drawn to more than one group, feel free to go to all the groups you feel the most drawn to. All you have to do is go down to the comment section or the description, click on the timestamp to each of your group, and yeah, I will see you. I will also give you a moment of meditation, and I will see you at the click of your timestamp. Welcome group 1. So this is your reading for your future spouse's details, traits, and personality. This is the rose quartz, perhaps you were drawn to it, and we're gonna get started on your reading straight away. So group 1, the world. So first of all, we're seeing the physical trait of your future spouse. They're going to be someone very cute, and they're going to look younger than their actual age. So think about their skin, for example, is going to be like really glowing, and it's going to be really free from the skin problems such as temporary skin problems such as acne. I can see them really having clear eyes as well, and I can also see that they're also very good at prettifying themselves. They look well put together. They know their colors that really match well to them, and I can also see that they are someone who really has like big eyes, and when they look at you, you can see that their eyes really speak to your soul. Like their eyes are really attractive, and I can see that their eyes are really showing a lot of liveliness in them. And I can also see that they like to try out different fashion, and they like to stay on trends with the current fashion styles that a lot of people wear. So they are up to date with the fashion styles, and their sense of fashion is very, very trendy, as to say, group 1. And I can also see that they are a little bit on the tanned side, and also their eyes are pretty much on the bright side as well. I can see that they have the physical appearance of someone who likes to go outside. So they're either very like sociable in terms of personality, or they just like to go outside, which is why they are tanned. Despite their original skin color, I can see that they got tanned from being outside for a long time, every single day almost. So yeah, this is like all the details that we're getting about their physical appearance so far. And I can see that for some of you, they are going to have full lips. This is only for some of you. All right, let's see what else. Okay, the Hierophant tells me that they have very, very, again, like their eyes are super attractive, and they have a very good sense of self, as in when you look at them, the way that they look is very piercing, you know, like the way that they look at you is very as if it's calling out to your soul. So this is how they look like, the way that the looks that they give to people, and the looks that they give to a lot of people they're interested in romantically. It's them looking at you straight in the eyes, and them really like trying to read you and your micro expressions through their eyes. So they're they have the eyes that is both mysterious, lively, and also very analytical types of eyes. That is what I'm seeing. They have very observant type of eyes. I can see that they're very, very good at making eye contacts with you. So when you meet them for the first time, they really give their full attention to you, and they just look at you, and not in a way that is like creepy, but they really like make really good eye contact with you. They know when to look away, they know when to look at you. Like their timing of the perfect eye contact is really, really good. And yeah, I can see that they are very, very confident in themselves as well. They really like to find the things that make them stand out from the rest of the group. And I can see that, you know, their sense of fashion is something a bit different from majority of the people. I can see that for some of you, they have a much more daring style of fashion sense. So when you look at them, you can see and really draw them out from the crowd, for example. So yeah, they stand out definitely in terms of their physical appearance. That is what we're seeing right now. And again, like their hair colors and their eye colors are on the brighter side. They also have, again, the more tanned skin. They might have, like, for example, originally pale skin. However, from going outside a lot, they might have a more tanned tone to their skin. That is what I'm seeing. Okay, let's see what else. Group 1. Okay, Ace of Swords is telling me that their personality, your future spouse's personality, is going to be one that is very straightforward. They're very honest, and once they have something that they want to go after, they don't just think about it, they go for it. So they are the action takers, and sometimes they might be called by other people as being super daring or adventurous or maybe even reckless. However, they are the type of people who really put in actions to see the fruits of their labor, for example. So I can see that their personality is going to be like, if they meet someone that they are interested in, they're not just going to like think about what they want to say, they're going to say it to you. They're going to ask you on a date very directly. They're going to ask you to be their special someone. Once they are interested to stay committed to you, they are going to really like spell it out for you. They're going to be super direct with their intentions towards you, and they're someone like very honest to the point where a lot of people come to them for advice, for getting like unfiltered opinions, for example. And yeah, sometimes like when people hear honest opinions or thoughts or feelings, a lot of people can be intimidated by their honesty. But I can see that their honesty is coming from the place of very like reasonableness. Like they have a very reasonable, honest opinions that a lot of people, you know, might feel hurt by it at first, but then they know that your future spouse's opinions are correct and they are reasonable. They're not coming from a place of like evilness. They're coming from a place of being truthful and honest and reasonable. So yeah, that is the main quality trait that I can see from your future spouse so far, group 1. And let's see what else we can see about your future spouse, group 1. Okay, 8 of Cups tells me that your future spouse is someone who doesn't want to waste their time. So they're someone who is who values their time a lot, even when it comes to romantic attractions. Even if they are drawn to someone, when they know that that someone is not good for them, they are not afraid to walk away. So they're very good at setting strong boundaries when it comes to their time and efforts and energy. They're also very logical, and they're also very emotionally sensible because they know when to walk away from bad relationships, for example. They do not put themselves in relationships or situations where they're not really enjoying it, for example. They're not going to sit around and take the bad treatments that they don't deserve, no matter how much they might like the other person emotionally. When they know that the other person is not good for them, they are not afraid to walk away from those kind of situations. So they're very self-confident person, right? They're also very self-aware because they know when to walk away. Also, they very much so value themselves as well. They respect themselves to walk away from relationships that do not serve them. Even if it is hard to walk away, they still walk away. So they're someone who is very strong on their boundaries, their values, and if someone crosses them, they just silently walk away. And they communicate, of course, before walking away because of the Ace of Swords. They communicate, they do their best in the relationships that they are in, but once the relationships no longer work, they don't put extra efforts, they just walk away because they know that they always do their best in all the relationships that they are in. So yeah, I can sense a lot of like devoted energy from your future spouse group 1. So once they are with someone, they really do their best. So they almost have like no regrets when they leave someone because they know that they did their best in that relationship. So they know that it is not their problem, and if it is their problem, they're the type of person who is always honest with themselves as well. So they're very quick to admit their mistakes as well. So if they do something wrong, they're not going to be deflective, they're not going to be defensive about their positions, they're going to be reflecting on themselves as logically as possible, and they're going to be like, wait a minute, you're right, you know, I can fix that, or I can change that, or I did something bad, and they're quick to say sorry, they're quick to admit to their faults if they did make some mistakes or said something wrong. They're very quick to admit to their faults. And this really shows emotional maturity group 1. I can see that they're very logical and they really look at things as objectively as they can, and they're also very emotionally sensible, emotionally mature. So I can see that they have had experiences in the past with a lot of people in terms of romance group 1. So they're definitely not someone who is inexperienced. They are far from that. I can see they have been through a lot of traumatic relationships. They have been dumped, they have dumped someone, they have experienced heartbreaks where they've been cheated on. I can see that they experienced a lot of things. Yeah, they have been through definitely many kinds of relationships in the past. Yeah, Nine of Swords tells me that they have definitely spent a lot of times worrying about their future spouse because they have been through a lot of different types of people, and I can see that they have been disappointed in the past because of the people who treated them wrong. I can see that group 1, they have a very self-confident aura, and they are self-confident. However, they also have some anxieties inside them in their lives. It could be about their jobs that they are anxious about. Definitely they feel anxious, but they are the type of person with the personality traits where they try to heal themselves by themselves without asking for help from other people. So they believe that when they face a hardship emotionally, they really try to solve it by themselves. So they're a very self-efficient person, group 1. However, sometimes they try to do things all by themselves. So I can see that they can be independent to a fault, right? So I can see that their personality tells me they have a hard time to ask for help, or perhaps they are already used to, solving their problems on their own. So they're not really used to asking for help from other people. So that is what I'm seeing. And I can see that it's not because they think that they cannot trust other people. It's because they have been so used to solving, and they have been so used to their own independence that they feel as though, I can do this on my own. So yeah, they definitely have that kind of independent vibe that you know, perhaps they might be a little bit slow to opening up about their problems when you first get to know them. But it is not coming from a place of intentionally hiding things from you. It is rather them thinking that it's not really necessary for them to, you know, talk about their problems, because they don't want to burden you with their problems, because they think and they know that they can solve it by themselves. So yeah, this is someone who is definitely very independent vibe is what I'm seeing. So their jobs might be also very like some jobs that require them to work alone for most of the time. And one card, actually two cards. Yeah, King of Cups and Three of Cups tells me that they really value their close-knit community, and they're the type of person who is very like happy with being alone, and they might be a little bit on the introverted side, group one. They really like to be in touch with their friends and family, but only once in a while, or maybe once a week. So they're not the type to be very sociable, and I can see that they truly enjoy being around people. However, they really like shine in social setting as well, and a lot of people come to them for advice, and they're very emotionally mature and very romantic as well. However, they really prefer quality over quantity, so they definitely go out. However, they go out to the places where they do not need to be sociable all the time. So think about the outdoor activities that require you to do a lot of solo activities, like hiking, right, swimming, those kind of outdoor activities. And again, I can see physical appearance, tanned skin, and someone who is very like well dressed, right? Even if they dress in a very minimal way, they dress very well, and they dress in a very either classical way for some of you, and for some of you they dress in a very flamboyant way, very flashy way almost. So yeah, that is what I'm seeing. And King of Cups is telling me their personality is very, very good when it comes to being a romantic partner. They are really, really emotionally available and they have been through so many types of relationships that they have grown emotionally very, very well. So they're someone that you can count on when it comes to emotional affairs. Like, they're there for you emotionally. They're there for you through ups and downs, and it is not even like just through words. They're going to show you through actions. So I can see that for some of you, their love language is going to be like acts of service. They will show you their love through actions. So group one, if your love language is also actions, or if you appreciate actions as the love language, this future spouse that you will manifest really have that type of love language, is what we saw. Okay, group one, this is your reading, group one, about your future spouse's details, physical appearance, and personality traits as such. So let me know what you think, and your comment, if you watch till the end, leave a pink heart emoji down in the comments. If you want to have a private tarot reading directly from me, visit my website, destinyreading.com, and you will get a spiritual surprise gift to your reading as well, to your video reading as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I upload weekly, so stay tuned, and I will see you in my next videos. Hello group 2, so this is a reading about your future spouse's looks and personality traits, all of the details about that. This is the obsidian, perhaps you were drawn to it, and we're gonna get started right away. Looks and personality of your future spouse, group 2. So first of all, your future spouse is very attractive, to the point where a lot of people turn their heads when they see your future spouse. And there's someone like super attractive to the point where some people are reminded of like famous actors or actresses when they see your future spouse, and they're almost attractive to the point where a lot of people assume that your future spouse is already taken. So it is showing a lot of high level of attraction. So I would say it's like almost objectively attractive. I know that attraction attractiveness is like sometimes subjective. However, for your future spouse, it's almost like standard wise attractive, you know. So yeah, this is telling me your future spouse is just attractive in general. And I can see that they have, it's like they have a lot of like physical appearance with the features that really come together very well. And they also have a very nice body. Like when people look at their body and their proportions, it's very well balanced. And I can see that they almost like invoke the 7 deadly sins. They invoke like lust from other people, you know. So I can see that they're very sexy, right? They're hot, sexy, that kind of attractive vibe is what we're seeing here. All right, let's see what else we need to know. Okay, yeah. So your future spouse is also like exuding a lot of mysteriousness. Group 2. So they're attractive and their aura is also mysterious at the same time. So that really invokes people's curiosity, and that really invokes people like attraction towards them, because it's almost like, you know, like seeing something unknown, something a little bit mysterious. So people really want to find out about what is going on with this, your future spouse's inner world. And yeah, I can see like they're very attractive again, almost like as if there is a halo going on behind their head. So that is the level of their attractiveness. And when it comes to the features, I would say it's the standard attractive features, such as, right, like for example, for girls it's going to be big eyes, right, full lips, for example. And for guys it's going to be like a very like strong features and dark features guys, for example. So yeah, I would say it's a very standardized attractiveness is what your future spouse has. And I know that it differs from culture to culture, so I think that just summarizing in a way that is a standardized attractiveness is going to sum it up pretty well. Okay, so let's see what else about your future spouse, group 2. Let's see about their personalities. Okay, so their personality is that they are very competitive. They're very competitive, they're very passionate, and also they are someone who is very attractive, right? So a lot of people try to get their attention, and I can see that a lot of people always try to fight over their attention. And I can see that your future spouse also knows it, and your future spouse really like tries not to let those attention from other people affect their head. So I can see that your future spouse is someone on the humble side of things. They try not to get into the conflict, they try not to get into the chaos, and they try not to get in the midst of people prying for their attention. So which means that they don't give their attention to anyone that demands their attention. They select only a few that they are interested in. So your future spouse knows what they want, and they don't just give their attention to just anyone despite their popularity. So they have a lot of choices, they have a lot of opportunities. However, they really like make it the point that they choose quality people to invest their time and love, right? So your future spouse has very strong values when it comes to love relationships. They don't just want to be with anyone despite the abundance of opportunities for them. Yeah. And they know that, you know, like a lot of people are very attracted to their mysterious vibe, attracted to their physical appearance. So they also know, your future spouse knows that looks is not the only thing to love, and which is why they only like select few who are genuine about personality traits too, and long-term compatibility, right? Not just physical attraction, which lasts at first, but it goes away after some time. So your future spouse wants someone whom they can be with forever, even if looks fade away. And I mentioned about competitiveness. Your future spouse is very like passionate type of person. So once they are interested in someone, they will fight for you. They will really like compete with others, and not in a very like macho or not in a very arrogant way. They're going to compete in a way where they're going to show off their genuine traits, their personality traits. They're going to come with the sincerity. They're going to really compete with what they have to offer personality wise. So that is what I'm seeing. Okay, what else we need to know about group 2 future spouse? Okay, King of Pentacles tells me that they are someone who wants long-term stability. They're someone who values long-term stability. Also, their personality, right? It's someone who is very... Actually, they're very attractive, but at the same time, they're very, very focused on building their family. So they're very family-oriented type of person. And I can see that they really like are a long-term visionaries type of person. So think about someone who has a vision to either build a family, or with a vision to become rich, right? Or with a vision to build something of their own. So they are very visionary. They're very big pictured person. They're actually very intelligent, and they're also someone very reliable as well. And they are already like well established when it comes to their finances as well. So I can see that they put a lot of values in stable things, which is why I believe that when it comes to dating around, they don't just pick anyone, they really pick a few only, because they're very serious about it. Once they date someone, they date them for marriage, and if it doesn't work out, then they just cut their cords and say goodbye. And they really like they're very intelligent as well. I can see that it's not just their physical appearance that is like almost perfect, but it is also their personality is very mature, and their personality is also very well established. Like they know what they want, and they have strong values about how they want their life to look like, and they really work towards that. So their daily activities, they're very like well disciplined. So they might be someone who is very like well structured. So think about someone who wakes up early and sleep early, right? So they're someone who doesn't like to drink or party as well. And they're someone who is like always trying to be better. They're always trying to be the best version of themselves, and they're always like learning new things. They're always trying to be the best that they can be romantically as well. And they also are searching for someone who is on the same wavelength as them. And they're not searching for someone perfect, but they're searching for someone with the same values, right? Someone who values long-term family, for example. And I can see that there's someone who is ready to give everything that is needed to build a family, group 2. So for example, they're ready to really like support, they're ready to pay, they're ready to really be the person who is like almost the head of the household, for example, right? They're ready to give, they're ready to provide. They are a provider, and they really value giving. They really are generous, and they're very supportive as well. And they're just someone you can really go to when it comes to stability. Like they kind of remind me of like a rock, right? Like a rock that is stable, that is situated, that is already established, and they're not just going to go away easily. They're really firm, they're really good foundation. So yeah, actually group 2, your future spouse's personality traits, they are actually really, really amazing. And let's see what else. They are someone who is very level-headed, which means that they have very good balance between using their head and heart. They know when to let go, they know when to forgive and forget, and they know when to take it easy, right? They really handle things in a very mature ways, and they also are very open-minded when it comes to accepting new ideas, new perspectives. And group 2, I can see that for some of you, your future spouse is someone that can offer you a different, fresh perspective on life, which is different from you. And this is great because, for example, when you're feeling stressed or worried about something, your future spouse is going to offer you like a new perspective that really like makes you not worried about it anymore. You know, it's like a new way of seeing things, and your future spouse has it. So because of that, when you are together, your future spouse is almost like going to balance you, and you are going to balance your future spouse as well, because the way that you look at things sometimes are super different, that you offer each other new perspectives, which in turn is very helpful in balancing things out and really getting like both of you in a relationship, in a marriage, very, very well balanced and very stable and calm, and just like it's just a very like good type of personality trait where if you're feeling worried, they're going to be calm and giving you advice, and vice versa. So I can see that they definitely have a lot of like mature mindset and take on life, that they're going to be like, hey, you know, why not think this way about this person? Hey, why not do this solution to this problem? Hey, why not go to this place for, you know, like get a new perspective on things? And they're going to also offer you to go do some activities with them, and they also have some hobbies that they have that are going to help you, group 2. So yeah, the hobbies that they have, the mindset perspectives that they have are in turn going to be a good influence on you, group 2. So for example, like getting up early, right, group 2, if you are the person who has a hard time to get up early, you're going to be influenced positively by your future spouse to get up early, for example, right? That is the type of person that your future spouse is for you, group 2. And let's see what else, group 2. Right, your future spouse is very hardworking, and your future spouse knows that marriage and relationship is something that you both build together. They have a very like realistic view about marriage and realistic view about their partner, because they know that no one is perfect, and even with your flaws, or even if you think it's a flaw, they don't see it as a flaw, they see it as a realistic imperfection that they are ready to accept. So group 2, your future spouse, they're ready to accept you for who you are. They see marriage as something you need to build in order for the relationship to be healthy, and they know that love takes a long time to build, and they are ready to build that kind of love no matter how long it takes. They are ready to get to know you no matter how long it takes. I can see that they're very like patient, hardworking, very visionary, very good influence, and just very, very good partner, future spouse to have for you, group 2. So this is the reading for you, group 2. Let me know your thoughts, comments, and also let me know if you watched till the end. Leave a black heart emoji down in the comments, and let me know what videos you want to see next. I upload weekly. If you want to get a private tarot reading video from me, go to my website, destinyreading.com. You will get a spiritual surprise gift as well. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next videos. Hello and welcome group 3. This is about the looks and personality traits of your future spouse, all those details. This is the tiger's eyes. Let's get right to your reading. Group 3. Group 3 future spouses. Looks. Okay. Your future spouse has a physical appearance that really calms people. They have a quiet demeanor to them and they have a very kind face to them. So kind face is the face where you look at them and you know that they don't have any evilness to them and they don't have any strategies going on behind their eyes. So their eyes are relaxed. Their eyes might be doughy, like a dough, and their eyes and lips are very calm, and also when you look at them you just feel at peace. And they have a very simple face, there is nothing extra going on that you do not need to see, and they have natural hair colors. They also have a lot of, there's a wing here. They just look very kind and they just have a lot of naturalness going on. So I can see that for some of you, if your future spouse is a girl, they don't wear makeup, for example, or they wear little to no makeup. And your future spouse, if they're a guy, they really like to wear simple clothes. They like to wear classic colors, cooling colors. They like to take not a lot of stuffs with them. They like to be simple. And when you look at them, you just feel wait a minute, I want to be friends with them, almost just because of the way that they look is so kind. Their face is kind. And it's not only their face that is kind, it's also their aura, right? The Temperance card is really telling me about your future spouse's aura as well. Their aura is very super gentle, and they are good listeners as well. So we're seeing their personality traits here as well, group 3. So they might be a very good listeners, and at first they might not really talk so much about themselves. They might not really share about themselves at first, but I can see that it's because they're more of a listener. They like to listen. They like to speak only the necessary things that they feel the need to say. They don't really like to use flatteries. They don't really like to say the things that they don't mean. So they're very sincere and they're very, very genuine type of person, and they are a man and woman of a few words at the beginning, at least. And I can see that they might have very tan skin as well. And I can also see that they might also they just enjoy being how they look like. They have gone through the transition where they didn't really like how they looked before. So I think they've experimented with their hair colors a bit in the past. And I can see that right now your future spouse is finally accepting their natural appearance, and they're not really trying to change anything that they are born into. So I can see them really accepting who they are, how they look like, without changing too much about their natural look. So that is what I'm seeing. Okay, so what else, group 3? Your future spouse, group 3. Your future spouse is someone who is very good at, they love fun, they love to play, and they love to build connections that are well balanced and that are mutual. And they love to have those quality connections and quality friendships, and they also like to really show who they are to the people that they trust only. And they are the type of person who really likes to express themselves through creative activities. So think about writing, right? They might like to write about their feelings. They might like to journal about their feelings, or they might like to express themselves in body, through dancing, or they like to do a lot of creative things. and they like to engage in hobbies where they are getting their bodies involved. So yeah, think about dancing, think about exercising, think about anything that has their bodies involved. And yeah, they're someone who is ready to give everything that they have, and really like they're the type of person who is shy at first, but then they will show up and they will open up about who they are a lot more once you're with them at close proximity, and you're going to see like a new side of them that you've never really seen before, like the playfulness of them as such. So, and I can see they like to travel as well. We see some boat. So for some of you, think about someone who is a bit more to new adventures, new experiences, someone who likes to, who is curious about new things and new cultures, those kind of things. Okay, let's see what else, group 3. Oop. So there's someone who is very, when it comes to their personality, right? There's someone who is there for a lot of people that they care about. And especially in dark times, there's someone you can truly, truly count on. So it's very hard to find someone like your future spouse that a lot of people can really go to for advice, really go to for actions. And there's someone who is going to be like, hey, if you need help, I'm here. There's someone who is like compassionate like that. They're going to be like, you know what? If you need help, I'm right here. And even if something is like inconvenient for your future spouse, they're going to still offer help, right? No matter how inconvenient, because your future spouse really is coming from a place of good heartness, where they know that a lot of people might be hesitant to ask for help. So your future spouse is in turn someone who really offers people help. So I can see that for some of you, group 3, your future spouse might be someone working in social work, or they might do a lot of volunteering. They might do a lot of activities like donations, collections of money, fundraising for the underprivileged people, for example. So this applies to some of you. So your future spouse is definitely very kind at heart. So their physical appearance really reflects their personality as well. That is what we're seeing. So there's someone who, if they see someone less privileged than them, they really want to help them, and they really want to give good advice to people who need it when they ask for it. And they're almost like, think about mother or father of the group, right? Someone that a lot of people just feel like going to for advice and going to for just opening up about their emotional troubles. So they might be like a therapist of the group, for example, and they're actually very good at empathizing with other people. They're also very good at making sure the other person is heard, listened to, and appreciated. And I can see that group 3 as a future spouse, they're going to be someone who is so compassionate and empathetic, that they are going to validate your emotions very well, and they're going to really understand you and really be there for you emotionally. And I can see that they're just going to be a very good stable rock for you emotionally. So let's see. And I can see that they're also very brave. Yes, for some of you, your future spouse is very brave, and it could be showing some traits of being adventurous as well. So think about someone who has sort of an unusual hobby, maybe not really super unusual, but something not a lot of people like to do, such as maybe rock climbing, right? For example, it's not really unusual, but it's something that a lot of people don't really go out of their way to do, because it's a little bit on the harder side, on the adventurous side, rock climbing, cave exploration, for example, right? So yeah, they definitely, for some of you, group 3, they definitely have the adventurous spirit. So they like to really like get those endorphins going. So think about like skydiving or doing something in the sky, right? Those kind of hobbies that might be unusual. So yeah, your future spouse, for some of you, definitely has those adventurous activities, hobbies, and spirits. So they like to live a exciting life. That is what I see. Let's see what else, group 3. Okay, so I can see that your future spouse is someone who is like a therapist of the group and a counselor of the group, but they sometimes take on too much things. Like they just when people come to them, they sometimes have a hard time saying no because they just feel bad to say no. So I can see that group 3, they might be, you know, like sometimes giving too much of themselves to people who come to them, and sometimes they might overgive and they might give too much time and attention to people that need them. And sometimes they might also have some problems that they are facing, but they try to solve those problems on their own without really consulting anyone. So I can see that they might be someone who is like too kind to a fault sometimes, right? So they might be they have the personality that is like almost selfless, to the point where they feel bad if they try and talk about what's going on inside their head. Sometimes they feel bad asking for help sometimes, and I can see that it's because they just they're just so kind. They're too kind to a fault sometimes, that they take on too much, and they don't really like unload their worries onto someone. Even if they need to, they have a hard time asking for help even if they need to, for example. So yeah, they might be the people who overgive a lot, but then they don't really know how to receive love sometimes. Yeah, they might be too kind to a fault sometimes. So let's see what else. Group 3. Let's shuffle a little bit more. I want to really get to the bottom of it. Okay. There is someone who is also like good when it comes to their words. So when it comes to spoken speech, or even like when it comes to written speech, they're very good at that, which is why a lot of people come to them. So I can see that they have a very wise way of speaking. Like I've mentioned before, they're very good at selecting their words. They only say words that are true, and they only say words that are meaningful and useful, and they are very good at offering those kind of words of wisdom, as to say. And they speak so beautifully sometimes that it's almost like a poem, you know. And I can see that they're also very like romantic. For example, even if they don't have a lot to offer when it comes to dates, for example, they're going to give everything that they have on the table for you. They're going to do everything that is possible for them to do. For example, on a date, right? Even if they don't have much money, they're going to want to plan a very romantic getaway, and not in a irresponsible way, but they're going to plan a date that don't require spending money, for example. So they really are the type of person who really shows up the best for you, and they are very romantic, and they are just very good at they're very good at giving messages to people. That is what I'm sensing. So yeah, they might be like a messenger to some people. So they might be like the bridge that connects people as well and heals people. So they might be healer for some of you, and they are just very they're like an angel, you know. This Temperance card is the really good representation of who they are as a person. They're just very, very good-hearted, good souls, great soul. So yeah, group 3, this is your reading for your future spouse's looks, personality traits. Let me know what you thought. If you watched till the end, leave a brown heart emoji down in the comments. If you want to get a private video reading from me, you just go to thezintarot.com and you will get a tarot video and a surprise gift from me. I upload weekly also, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next videos. Hello group 4, if you chose this is your reading for your future spouse, their traits, their physical appearance, and their personality traits as such. And this is the opal. Let's get right to your reading. And group 4, let's see. Right, so your future spouse has a very mature physical appearance. By mature, I mean very well-defined features, very well and strong look to them. And they also have either long hair or they have a darker hair color. And they have a very like the stares that really make you feel like you are taken care of, right? So they just have the look of a mature person, and they just have like a very nice facial shape as well. And I can see that they are also very, very good at attracting other people, as in by their energy, because their energy is very like calm, and their energy is very mature, and their energy is one where a lot of people know that they are someone that they need to take serious of almost. So their physical appearance almost demands serious attention, like serious conversation, serious mature conversations. And I can also see that when you look at them, you are almost reminded of a fire, like here, right? You're almost reminded of a fiery type of vibe, because they have this intense look to their face when they look at you. It almost like spark is there when they look at you. It's almost as if you can see the inside of their soul just by looking at them, and just by them looking at you. So they do have their hearts on sleeve, and they're someone who can convey their feelings in a very like passionate way. So their face is going to tell you how much they love you, and it's going to come out in a way and in facial expressions that shows a lot of passion. And you can just tell they love you from their physical expressions almost. So yeah, they're very good at expressing themselves. And they have a darker type of vibe, like darker hair color, darker feminine vibe, darker masculine vibe. That is the vibe that I'm getting. They have a very sharp jaw for some of you. That is what I'm getting reminded of. Okay, so I'm going to take the tarot card to really see a little bit more details for you. Group 4. Okay, group 4. Your future spouse's looks and personality traits. What we need to know. Ooh. So do not be afraid, group 4. This is not a bad card, and in fact it is telling me that your future spouse has gone through a transformation in the past. And I can see that, for example, right, your future spouse might have lost a lot of weight. They must have taken on a new fitness routine. They might have grown muscles. They definitely look different compared to their past, like significantly different compared to their past. And they are looking really well in the present moment. That is what we're seeing here. And yeah, group 4, your future spouse definitely decided to level up when it comes to their physical appearance. I can see that they finally learned what kind of clothes fit them well, what kind of makeup or what kind of hair color, what kind of fashion fits them well, and they also learn to adopt really good physical habits such as exercising, eating better food, eating cleaner food, which is why I can see that they have gone through transformation in terms of physical appearance from the past. So I can sense that for some of you group 4, if you ask your future spouse for the pictures from their past, you're going to be surprised because they've really changed, and you're going to say to them, wow, you know what, you really grew up and you really like took care of yourself. You really started to take care of your physical appearance, and they really started to really change in a really much better way. And I can see that people from their past might have not been attracted to them in the past because of their physical appearance, but now I can see that they become really like a grown-up person. So group 4, I can see that your future spouse definitely had a major glow up. That is the card that indicates major glow up. So yeah, and let's see what else. I think they might have you know, like very cliche, but they might have taken off their glasses and started putting on contact lenses, for example. That kind of transformation. Okay, what else? Okay, so your future spouse is, when it comes to their personality traits, your future spouse can sometimes be indecisive. That means they don't know what is the best decisions for them. So sometimes they have this bad habit of procrastinating over decisions, and they're paralyzed by having to make decisions. And it's because they don't want to make the wrong decisions. So even when it comes to little things in life, like for example, before they buy something, they must watch the review videos of those products, and they really want to make sure that they make the right decisions on smallest things to the biggest things in life. And they might take a longer time when it comes to making decisions compared to most people. And it's not necessarily a bad trait. It just shows that they care, right? They care a lot about who they let in on their lives. They care a lot about their money and what they spend time and energy on, and which is why they tend to be a little bit indecisive. But I can see that once they sort of like decide, they don't really go back. It's just initially they might have a lot of hesitations, indecisions, and afterwards I can see that they are going to stick with their decisions. Let's see what else. Group 4. 8 of Pentacles tells me that yes, once they stick to a decision, they stick by it and they really focus on it. And they are the type of person who is very attentive, they're very hardworking, and they also like prioritize the right things in life. So for example, they prioritize time with you. If they're spending time with you, they focus on you only. They don't get distracted. They don't really focus on other things but you and the time that you have together. So they are very attentive, they're very caring, and they really put all the efforts that they have into making things work. So if they decide to be with someone, they really put all their efforts into that relationships to make it work. So they're someone who takes life seriously. So I can sense that they might be a little bit on the conservative side. So for example, they might not have had a lot of people in the past with serious relationships. They might have maybe only one serious relationship in the past, and they're not the type of person to date around for fun. They're not the type to enjoy themselves in that way. So they might be a little bit on the conservative side. And I can see that it's not really a fault. It's just one of the mindsets that they have. And I can see that this conservative mindset in turn is very good because it means that they're loyal and it means that they are selective. So this really shows their personality of being serious about the few that they let in. Okay, 2 cards. Queen of Swords tells me that they are not afraid to speak up their thoughts and feelings, and they are going to be very honest about themselves. They're not going to hide their flaws or weaknesses that they might have about themselves. So for example, right, some people might shy away from talking about their insecurities, blah blah, but your future spouse is not going to shy away from talking about their insecurities or honest opinions about other people, to the point where they might be a little bit like too blunt. However, they really say it because they believe that honesty is the key, and they believe that honesty is one of the biggest things that you need to have in a relationship and in a person, and they really value honesty and loyalty. Six of Pentacles tells me that they're also very generous. So think about someone who gives back to their community. So think about someone who even gives back to their family once a month, and they're very like devoted to their family, again very family oriented. And I can see that they're someone who really is very kind to even like random people that might need random small acts of kindness. They're very polite, they're very well mannered, and they really like to give to people who really need it, and they are selective about who they give their resources to. They don't just give to anyone, they give to people who they know deserve it, and the ones they know who need it. And I can also see that they're very loyal, and loyalty, honesty, stability, hardworkiness, and all of those things are their core values. So I can see that they also want their future spouse to be loyal and honest, first of all. And they also want their future spouse to be family oriented as well. And I can see that there's someone who is very good at identifying bad habits from good and cutting out those bad habits, which is why I think they transformed, physically speaking. It's because they realized that they had these bad daily habits that perhaps caused them to have acne, for example, and then finally, you know, they identified it, and they finally got rid of those bad habits, finally leading them to glow up. So they're very good at self-reflection, and they're very good at advocating those kind of healthy habits as well. So yeah, your future spouse is someone who is very like inspirational almost. All right, let's see what else. Group 4. Two of Wands tells me that your future spouse is someone who really values work-life balance. They don't just work just for working. They work for also living and enjoying life. And they take things seriously, but they take things seriously only one at a time, which means that when they are working, they will be focused on working, but when they are not working, they will be not focused on work at all. They will be focusing on their time away from work only. So they're someone who knows how to enjoy life. They're someone who loves to travel. They're someone who loves to experience new things. They're someone who is not afraid to change things up a little bit if the situation calls for it. Of course, by nature, I can see they prefer having good routine, like they prefer having an organized routine in their daily lives. But I can see that they also are flexible. Like if they need to go on a getaway trip, they know they need it, they really are ready to spend the money in order to enjoy themselves. And that applies to marriage as well with you, group 4. So if you're with them and they know that your marriage needs a little bit more fun or a little bit more adventurous activities, they are ready to go on that adventurous trip with you and change things up a little bit. So this really shows that they are open to new experience, new things, very open-minded. And this is a very good trait because when it comes to your future spouse, if they have an opinion, but if they hear like a reasonable input that can change their opinions, they accept it. So they're open to new ideas, they're open to accepting new ideas, and this really shows like humble humility. Like they're very humble, they know that they're not the smartest person in the room, they're ready to learn, they're ready to be a teacher when the situation calls for it, they're ready to be a student if the situation calls for it. I can sense that they're adaptable, right? They are adaptable, they're sensible, they're practical, they are reliable, they might be indecisive, but they're very, very caring, they're very hardworking, and they're very honest and loyal. So yeah, this is about your future spouse's looks and personality, group 4. Let me know what you thought if you watched till the end. Leave a white heart emoji down in the comments. If you want a private tarot reading video from me directly, you can go to my website, thezyntarot.com, and you will get a surprise gift to your tarot video as well. So yeah, thank you for watching. I upload weekly, so I hope to see you in my next videos.